I love that voice.
Yes. Welcome to Laughing Your Way to an Empowered Existence, our first ever webinar, as far as I know, on laughter and humor. Our presenter today is JC Coccoli, and she is the daughter of a woman with Parkinson's, and she is an American writer, producer, and I'm going to say this incorrectly, the female version of a comedian. Comedian. Thank you. JC's award-winning comedy pushes boundaries as it entertains with material that's engaging, heartfelt, and cry your eyes out funny. JC's TV background includes writing, producing, and performing for Chelsea, lately on E!, Amazon Prime, HBO Max, Headspace, meditation app, Comedy Central, Comedy Dynamics, Funny or Die, Hulu, Maker Studios, Lifetime, MTV, and VH1. She was also a final contestant on NBC's Last Comic Standing and starred in the hit MTV sketch show Hey Girl. She can be seen in Morgan Spurlock's film Mansome and John Asher's film Chukin. Thank you.
Chukin.
A spoof.
Yep.
On the popular franchise Taken. Mm-hmm. In 2016, JC was a supervising producer of the live talk show Fashionably Late, hosted by celebrity stylist Rachel Zoe. As of 2019, JC has performed on the high seas as a headlining comic in residence aboard Carnival Cruise Line. Since 2011, JC has been a dedicated and passionate advocate for women's rights. She has produced live red carpet events for 3 of Equality Now's highest profile galas, which raised over $1 million in 2018. Last fall, after driving cross country in an electric car for the Amazon Prime docuseries, The New American Road Trip, I have to watch that, JC was asked to speak at the United Nations on climate change and future of art. Now she's collaborating with the David Rockefeller Fund and OBB Sound to launch a comedy podcast about climate conscious living. JC is very well-rounded. And on this new podcast, JC talks with notable comedians and experts about what they're each doing to help fight climate change. JC at heart is a risk taker and feminist powerhouse with a work ethic and grit that do not disappoint. She performs frequently in New York City, LA, and the world, while remaining based in Pittsburgh. And I had the wonderful pleasure of meeting JC recently when she and her mom came into the office, and I had casually mentioned that because I had learned that JC had one of her roles is as a comedian about a laughter webinar, and right away she said, I can do that. So thank you. I wanted to include all the wonderful background information on you, JC. And now, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Casey. That was really, really wonderful. It's so nice to hear my bio being read out loud. I feel more successful as it gets read by more people. Hello to everybody. Go ahead and do me a wave. Just let me know that you're alive, that we're breathing. Our fingers are up. There we go. Beth, I see you. Clark, I see you. I am so wonderfully grateful. Bob, I see you. So absolutely grateful to see so many faces here in the audience today. The best part about working in comedy is being able to hang out with faces that you wouldn't normally see on a day-to-day basis. And comedy tends to bring that together. So Casey gave you a little bit of a background, but I'd love to dive deep into who I am as a person first before we start. Ooh, we got an echo. There we go. Good job, whoever caught that real fast. So diving first deep, my mother, Beverly, was diagnosed with Parkinson's at the age of 45. So she has received treatment all the way up until the last 20 years. So 20 years of her working through Parkinson's has allowed me to use what I do best, humor, in order to help her live a happy and healthy life. And the best part about my mom is that she was always really good at laughing anyway. And if you know anything about laughter, you know that it releases endorphins, but it's not always easy to laugh at the day-to-day. So a little history on what laughter is. And I think that's what's kind of cool about laughter is that it's a universal language. And it's a universal language through all languages and the history of time. It's the one thing that almost everybody in every way understands. And I always thought it was kind of interesting the way we laugh, why we laugh, how we laugh. And just a few ideas of kind of where it comes from. It's a physical reaction, and it's usually rhythmic. And what's funny about the rhythm is that the history of laughter lets you know that laughter actually goes in a ha 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 motion or a ho 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 motion. You'll never and very rarely see somebody go ha ho ho ha because it's not rhythmically organic to our bodies. If you're capable of doing that, you are a wonderful mystery in the world. So when you know that there are casual occasions of emotionally states, you're seeing that yourself, your age, your gender, your background, your education, and your culture is going to be why you laugh at what you laugh at. Now, I want everyone just to think for a second, maybe close their eyes and think about maybe the one time they've laughed really hard. They've laughed really hard, whether it was something that they did, or you saw, or a movie, or a character. Something that made you laugh really hard. And I want you to think about that moment. Does everyone have that moment? Sort of, yeah. Okay, great. Couple people, yeah, good. And at the end of the session, I'm going to allow us to tell each other the moment that made us laugh really hard. Because I do believe the more that we share with each other about what makes us laugh, it allows our body to release different endorphins in our body and allow our neurons inside of our brain to loosen up and de-stress. The one thing that I can say about laughter is that we don't do it enough. Do you notice that in yourself? That's that the day-to-day struggle of just honestly breathing becomes this, I must do this on my list, and I have this doctor's appointment, and I have this medicine I need to take, and then I have to make sure I move my knees and my ankles and my arms and my elbow. Hup, I have a boo-boo now in the back of my body. Here I go. I can't laugh at that because it's serious. It tends to be a stressful situation in day-to-day life than it is comical. And I'm here to talk to you about reversing that point of view. So my history of stand-up is I'm a performer on Carnival Cruise Line. Carnival Cruise Line is one of the better cruise lines for comedy because you're on the ocean and everybody's trapped. They're trapped and they're with me for their entire vacation. And they paid for it. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? So you get to travel the world, hop into different islands, and laugh about the crazy things in life. So I understood very almost instantaneously that when you're going through life and trying to hit the goals of glorious capitalism, you'll end up seeing yourself be just as much happy as you are stressed. And we get angry at the silliest of things, but things that matter to us. Perhaps you burnt the steak you were making for your family. Perhaps you wanted to make that green light and it turned yellow. And if you're anything like me, it infuriates me when it turns yellow. It's like, just let me drive through. Or perhaps maybe your pillow has flattened out and you can't get it to fluff the way you want. It's like little things, right? That you can't quite figure out. Like for me, why do I have to have these bottom teeth that don't go straight? That's really frustrating. That's super frustrating. I don't want to be an adult with braces, but that's the way life works. The things that you want sometimes aren't the things that you get. Is that fair for everyone to say? Absolutely. So we think about the things that don't make us laugh. The things that don't make us laugh are as follows: taxes, bills, mostly money oriented. When your grandchild ends up marrying somebody you disagree with. That one does not make us laugh. Perhaps for me, litter. Litter drives me absolutely insane. I can't stand when people just chuck litter. It doesn't make sense. It's bothersome. So whenever I look at the structure of how laughter works, I think about why I laugh at what I laugh at. And if you guys don't mind, I'm going to tell you what I find funny about the things that are wrong with me. And I'm going to give you this example because I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease growing up as a kid. And the history of Crohn's disease, if you know anything about it, you don't gain any weight. You're a skinny, lanky string bean, and you have ulcers inside your tummy. And very young, I was able to recognize that the way my brain worked and the way my stomach worked was connected. So if I had negative thoughts, it then connected to my tummy and added more stress. And that was how it kept getting worse and worse. Until one day, my doctor told me, don't worry about getting straight A's anymore. Just live. And I was a kid going, what do you mean? I'm supposed to get straight A's. I have to succeed. I have to be a millionaire. I have to do this. I have to buy a house for my mom. And I have to travel the world. And I need to go to space. Luckily, Elon Musk is doing that for us. We don't have to go to space. He's taking care of it for us. So I will say that now that we're adapting this world that's 24-hour news cycles, things on Zoom, the idea that you need to be serious and calculate your life the way it needs to be calculated, I think the healthiest way for us is to start learning how to operate within laughter therapy. And laughter therapy is best done in a park. But if you're not outside and you are inside, because this last 18 months was one of the most funny 18 months of our entire lives, wasn't it, guys? Being a little bit moderately trapped on the inside. Oh, what a glory. But then you learned a lot about what you were capable of. One, you learned that you could talk to your friends and family through the internet. And that is funny, but also just as frustrating. I don't know if any of you have found it almost impossible to have perfect internet, but that's one thing I do not laugh at. Whenever they tell you to go online at a certain time and then you go online and it's almost like your old rotary phone speed. Remember our rotary phones? They weren't connected to the internet. They were connected to, I think, God, maybe. The best part about it now is that we have a link. We have an ability for us to actually go and communicate with the world what we're feeling and thinking. The one thing I noticed inside the Parkinson's setup with my mom was it was frustrating for certain things to have dexterity issues. She would get frustrated when she couldn't grab things and she would get upset with herself. And we began to do some exercises that I'd love to share with you that I think are really fun to do. And at the end of these sessions today, we're going to unmute ourselves and we're going to have a conversation. And we're going to do that by talking to each other and seeing if we can make each other laugh. And in that process, we're going to begin to loosen up our respiratory system, allowing our brain to connect with our tongue and our throat and our chest. And that's going to amplify and energize our hands, our wrists, and our shoulders. All of these things happen organically when we laugh. And I know you're thinking, but if it's not funny, how could I not laugh? We're going to start to discover how to laugh at the things we don't normally find funny. And that's the power of thought. When you think about something and it frustrates you, and you think about it and you clamp up and you tighten, and your neck gets tense and your jaw gets tense, your brain is saying, I don't like this. I don't want to be a part of this. I'm denying this. When you release, you're able to laugh at that. Tragedy is usually the catalyst for comedy. It is the history of comedy. There is a theory that Freud did called the relief theory of when something is bothersome, something is agita, as we say in the Italian world. When something is frustrating, if you hold on to that frustration and you keep thinking, I don't like this, I hate this, I wish I didn't see this, I wish I didn't feel this, you're adding to this big ball of non-funny. And if you focus your attention on what you find funny about what you don't like, you'll begin to work a muscle that feels like a rotation inside your system. So we don't normally process where laughter comes from because it's organic. She's either funny or she's not funny. Kids are funny organically because they aren't thinking. What do I look like? Am I silly? Is my face weird? They don't have that social skill yet. It's not processed. But as we age, we begin, especially women, we're like, hey, I'm in my body. Is my lifestyle funny? Is my the way I look, is my nose too Italian? Are my eyes crooked, which I firmly believe mine are, but no one has proved that fact? Is the grocery store a funny experience for me? You process what you find to be funny. But if you dislike something, these exercises that we're going to do today are going to help you alleviate a little bit of tension and stress inside your system. So I have them jotted down here because I think it's fun for us to do it even muted. So one thing I'll say about laughter therapy is that, contrary to what my people think about laughter, is that not laughing right away is not the system. What you want to do is you want to laugh in phases. And I know that's like, JC, how do I laugh in phases? Start to think about the exercises you do physically on a day-to-day basis, and then think about laughter as its own exercise. So my eyes are going to jot over here for a second to make sure that I get them proper for you. So generally, all these exercises are things that you can do on a daily basis. And I do believe it loosens the muscle inside your chest that allows you to start laughing at the simple things. One, my mom hates taking her pills. Hates it, can't get enough of it, would rather throw it out of a window. She would rather chuck it down a street. She has to carry them all the time. She doesn't like water. My mom doesn't like water. Like, doesn't like the taste, she said. Does anybody else feel that way about water? No, right? Or maybe, yeah. So I even tried to make it more interesting. Well, maybe if we like take your medicine with a vanilla milkshake, would that help you? And she was like, but dairy makes me toot. Okay. I'm not going to fight with you what happens on the back end. Whatever you want to do, I'll do. First exercise, number 1, phase 1. And everybody, I want you to be ready for this one. The session starts with the clapping of hands. So if you have hands and you start clapping, yeah, what you're doing is you're pulsating the nerves inside your hands. And in that, you activate some acupuncture points. And you activate people around you because they start to hear it and they start to go, what's going on? I want to be a part of this rhythmic motion. And after each clap, you're feeling inside your hands some sort of tingle, right? Nod your heads if you're feeling it. Some people feeling it. Yeah, you feel that rhythm and it's starting to connect your elbows to your chest, and it feels good. Even to any song that you want, feels incredible. And you're just snapping. Hey, Barb, I see you, girl. Are you clapping, Barb? I see you, Barb. You better be clapping, girlfriend. David's clapping. Claudia's clapping. Catherine's clapping. Marlene, are you clapping? Yep. And just this motion alone allows you to actually start to feel a rhythm in your torso, a rhythm in your chest, some sort of jolt of energy through your elbow into your chest area that almost makes you think, wow, what song am I jamming out to? Bill, you jamming out to John Lennon? What song is in your brain right now? And just that clapping alone, if you were to pause and move your hands close, you'll feel this almost magical energy between your hands, the friction of what you've just amplified. And these are acupuncture points. These are allowing your hands to be present and jolts that system to the core. Now, that's your first step. And if you do that once a day for no reason, even if you look crazy, which I highly recommend, always look crazy, you will end up stimulating your brain in a way that allows you to get ready to laugh. Now, that's number 1, phase 1. Number 2, phase 2. This one tends to be my favorite one, and it's hard for a lot of people. Deep breathing exercises. Now, if everyone can do me a favor and close their eyes, I will be the one that keeps my eyes open to make sure your eyes are closed. If you close your eyes, I want you to deeply breathe in through your nose and then out through your mouth. Give me 2 more of those. In through your nose. Deep, 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 deep. Exhale. One more, and I want you to breathe as much as you can in. And then go ahead and breathe it all out. Down to the last drop. Now go ahead and open your eyes. What you just did there was you helped lighten your own mood. You did it on your own. Breathing tends to relax your lungs. If you're constantly trying to talk and catch up with people as they talk to you, and then be the person that sends the next sentence right away, you're not necessarily allowing your lungs to catch up with your inner body. And in that process, you've now stimulated your hands, and now you've awoken your lungs. These body parts, these are what make us human. And we need to always take that into consideration, that they're just running and running and running. But what we need to do is check in with our body parts, check in with the way our body feels. And breathing is the number one thing people coincidentally forget to do. Yes, you're taking in oxygen, but are you really connecting with your body as you breathe out? Because that is going to allow you to laugh. I'll connect it for you later. But I hope people began to feel a little less tension after you did that laughter exercise just now. So, phase 3, a secondary phase that I always find great. If you're laughing like a child playfully, without a reason, that is the main aim of this phase. So if everybody can do me a favor very quickly and unmute themselves for this phase. Unmute yourself. Everybody feel free to unmute yourself for this phase. Unmute. There you go. Unmute. I'll wait for some people to unmute. This is great. Unmute. Great. What I would like you to do in this phase is envision yourself laughing like a child on a playground, and I want you to do it out loud in whatever giggly child way you think on the count of 3. Can everybody do that for me?
Laugh, laugh.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Now let's add some clapping to this laughter. Add some clapping to our laughter. Now settle, everybody, settle. I'll settle. Now, did you see hearing everybody in unison how phenomenal that felt?
Yeah.
Did you feel it coming through, even through the phone? Just us laughing as a child would on the playground with no reason to really laugh. That right there is to sound as silly as possible in any way possible. And we're going to do it just one more time. And I want you to go a different tone. If you were high this time, I want you to go low this time. If you were low, I want you to go high this time. Can we all do that?
Yes.
On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. Great job, everybody. Great job. And I'm looking at everyone's faces right now are so funny. I love how a lot of you took your cameras off because you were like, I don't want her to see how I laugh. But when you see the way other people laugh, it's almost just as thrilling as watching yourself laugh in real time, because it's contagious. And scientifically speaking, yawns are not the only thing that's contagious. Laughter is contagious. And once you see one person laugh, you may or may not feel the same way, but you'll bubble over and laugh again and again. And these are exercises, again, that you should do on a daily basis because it'll amplify your ability to laugh in real time. So number 4, imitation laughter. So imitating someone else's voice that you think is funny, such as a celebrity. We have a dog issue. There's a small dog issue. Stand by.
It's her dog.
It's my dog. She's tiny. She's a wiener dog, and she knows laughter better than anyone. So imitation laughter. Can anybody think of a celebrity that they like or that they don't like, and think of an impression that they can do? And if you think that you can do an impression, go ahead and let me know. Anybody? Could be anyone you want. Okay. You have one?
I might. You can be the judge.
Okay,
Mitch
who do you
McConnell.
have?
Mitch McConnell.
Whoa, I think this is wrong. We are not gonna do that today. We're not gonna do that ever.
That was amazing. Clap for her.
Oh,
Clap for her.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I will do an impression of Cher. Ready? You know Cher? Everybody knows Cher? Okay, here we go. Ready?
Go back to
If I could turn back time, if I can find a way. Expected a standing ovation. Thank you very much. Okay. Anybody else got one? Anybody else got one?
About Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, talk to me, Arnold.
I'll be back.
That's a great one. Now, if Arnold were governor, what would Arnold say?
I'm
Let's
done.
pass the vote.
That's the boot. I'm
vote.
done.
The
Exactly.
vote.
That's
The vote.
the vote. Oh yeah, cast the vote. That's a good one.
California's on fire.
Yes,
That's not funny.
It's not
it is
funny.
funny. I'm in California right now, and I can tell you it is funny.
Okay.
I promise you, you didn't cause climate change. Well, you're a baby boomer, so you might have caused climate change, but we'll figure that out. What about anybody else? Anybody else have one?
Just a phrase from Barbara Bush.
Okay.
Bushes and shrubs. Bushes and shrubs.
Shrubs. That's basically her saying bushes and shrubs, but Barbara Bush, right?
Mhm.
I loved it. I loved it. Anybody else got a celebrity impression they would love to try?
I know.
You can do it, anybody at all. Okay, no worries. It looks like the winner goes to all of us that just did it, and all of you don't win. The rest of you that didn't do it, you don't win. I expected something from the man that lives in Poland. I expected some delightful like impression of Putin. Like, don't invade Poland. But I don't know what Putin would sound like. Maybe like, don't invade Poland. Is that close? He's like, sort of, honey. Keep trying, sweetie. Okay. So then number 5, we've already covered a couple to recap where we're at. So we clapped, we started breathing, we started imitating what a childlike laughter would feel like. And then we began to dive into celebrity impressions. So any kind of celebrity impression that we wanted. And these are things that stimulate our mind every day. That way, when we start to loosen up the muscle, we'll be able to laugh at everyday things because we're already training. So number 5, embarrassing scenarios. We all know what's embarrassing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Oh, yeah. And it never ends, by the way. Being embarrassed is a universal trait. Universal in the sense that every human being is embarrassed every now and then. And sometimes laughter comes from actual laughing, whereas some other laughter comes from being embarrassed. So you won't be able to necessarily tell until you're checking in with your body. And that's where breathing really helps. If you breathe, you can check in with your mind and your body and say, am I embarrassed for this reason? Why am I embarrassed? And how can I overcome this embarrassment? Laughter. Laughter is the best way to heal an embarrassing situation because human beings all have embarrassment. Everybody all the time. When I was a little girl, sorry to brag, but I didn't have any boobies. And that's a Crohn's disease thing. When all the girls were growing through puberty, I didn't have any boobies. And I wanted them so desperately. So my mom gave me the opportunity in my swim classes where she said, you're going to wear 2 sets of bathing suits. Your first set of bathing suit, I'm going to sew a pair of boobies into. And then your second bathing suit, you're going to put over, not like real boobies, just cloth. And I thought I was so cool. I finally had boobies overnight. But guess what? The moment I jumped into the pool, my boobies floated away. Floated away.
Oh, geez.
Oh, geez. And so everyone was like, should we take her to the hospital? Honestly, yes, out of pure embarrassment. Is there an embarrassment hospital that you could take me to? So if you recall an embarrassing incident and you retell it, laughing at the end or throughout it hysterically out of embarrassment or nervousness actually allows you to work through we could only refer to it as traumatic situation. Now, I don't want to corner you in any embarrassing situation, but if there's someone that wants to perhaps tell an embarrassing story very briefly and try to either laugh at the end of it or while telling it, that's the exercise I want us to work on right now. Any volunteers?
I do.
Okay, what's your name, love?
Evelyn.
Okay, Evelyn, go for it.
Okay. We were out swimming and I was wearing a 2-piece and me and my children, we were jumping in the water, and all of a sudden my top went up and my boobs were showing up. And it was it was so fun. I started laughing. You know, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
So I pulled it down right away.
Yeah, of course. Otherwise, you're going to get fined by the booby police. That's great job. Exactly how you were laughing during your story and then after your story. That stimulates your brain and allows you to think about a memory and thereby change it into a funny storytelling situation. So anybody else want to share something so embarrassing and what helped them in it?
I will.
All right, go ahead.
When I was in college, I had a single room next to my best friend who also had a single room. And we were in an old building that had transoms over the doors. And I don't know if you know what a transom is.
Yes, I do.
We kept them open when we had our windows open to allow the air to circulate when it got hot. And I have the opposite problem of you. I was extremely well endowed from a young age. And in college, my bras were very large. And she got a hold of a couple of them and got on a chair and climbed up and slung them over the top of the transom. And they were there for a day or more. I don't know how long, until I realized I was missing them and looked and saw them. I don't know how many people saw them up there.
The best part about this so far is the women have a very similar embarrassing theme, and it's all boobies. All boobies, which is universal.
Oh, yeah.
More? Keep going. So what about men now? I know, Mary, you said you
What
have a
about
story,
you?
but it's pretty long. But do you want to try it?
I make it short. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
This has happened like 30 years ago when I was in my 30s. I worked near a hospital, and my friend, who was my best friend, she used to color my hair for me all the time. But because it was by a hospital, parking spaces were really hard to come by because all the hospital people wanted free parking. So the meter maids would have a field day there, and they were really aggressive. They would mark your tire. You're only allowed to park there for an hour or something. So she, colored my hair, and I had, old clothes on all the time, and I had a yellow towel that she always used when she colored my hair, and it was around my neck. Well, then you can imagine my hair is dark, so it would be black. And, when you're pushing it all down and trying to work it through, I look like a bowling ball. So anyway, we're sitting there talking, and she's like, "Oh my God, I looked out the window. Here comes the meter maid. You got to move your car." So I run out just looking like that. And I did grab my purse. And in my purse, I had these orange sunglasses that my boyfriend had given me. And so I had to move my car. So I drive off, and I can't find anywhere to park. Like, I'm thinking I could just move it, but I had to drive around the block. Then I had to drive around another block. And before I could find a parking space, I had to walk 2 blocks back to her place. So I had to put like this yellow towel over my head. And then I put these orange sunglasses on so nobody would recognize me, because I was near the hospital that we worked at. And I just wanted to die. And she said, she kept looking out the window saying, "Where is she?"
Yeah. And you're just
so long, And
you're a bowling ball in the streets, huh?
But I had this yellow towel on top of it, so that like it was like a mantle almost, and then these little sunglasses, and I just put my head down, and it was one of the most embarrassing things. We used to laugh about that so hard.
I mean, you just laughed about it right now. So that's the beauty of reminiscing these memories. And it's not lost on me, by the way, that there are no men sharing their embarrassing moments. It's not lost on me. You think you're going to get away with it? Get away with this, guys. I mean, you might get away with it, but if somebody... No, it's just the women that are embarrassed. Apparently, all the men are just fine. No embarrassing situations out of the boys, I guess. Unbelievable. All right, so I want to do another physical activity that I think is very important for us. So it's called Dyslexic Laughter. We've covered the first 5 steps. Dyslexic laughter is when you swing both hands gently from side to side, like this. And you're chanting, ho, ho, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha. Oh, oh, silly, right? Good job, everybody. Good job, everybody. Everybody clap for yourselves. Good job just now. Good job. So what just happened there? Not only did we do the ho, ho, ha, ha, but we're stimulating the right and left sides of our brains while we're moving our hands and ho, ho, ha, haing at the same time. You're stimulating your brain, allowing it to really release. And I think you might have heard that while we were doing the ho, ho, ha, ha, other people began to laugh at themselves doing it, thereby made other people laugh more, right?
Yes.
It just was like, what? Because if you were at a coffee shop and you just started doing it, ho, ho, ha, ha, ho, ho, ha, they would call an ambulance on you, right? It'd be like, somebody is acting weird over here. But you'd say, nope, I'm just stimulating my left and right side of my brain. Thank you very much. So a couple more things that I want to get into before we get to the question portion of it, because these exercises, by the way, are for you to use anytime you want. And obviously this is pre-recorded, so we will be able to use that as a stimuli point for you to do it during any part of your day. But one part that I think is very funny, it's called silent laughter, no sound laughter. So we don't think about it, but there's a lot of times, specifically in church, where I would silent laugh. Because you can't laugh out loud in church. God gets mad. Just kidding. Exactly. So just casually out of nowhere, without making sounds, I want you to close your eyes and laugh quietly to yourself. Ready? Go. No sound. And stop. Weird, right? To laugh without actually making a sound honestly made you want to make a sound anyway. It's the strangest thing, but when I'm in a movie theater or when I'm working with somebody, laughing quietly is sometimes the best part about laughter. Is you start to laugh quietly, you make eye contact with other people, and then they laugh, and then their eyes water, and then they're hiccuping, and then they snort. Oh, you ever just snort, laugh?
Yes.
I'm sure the men do in here, because the men, all you do is snore and snort.
Snort and
Now, snort and snore, right? Okay, so silly laughter is our step before our final step. So silly laughter helps us identify and confront personal information and limitations, and the uneasiness in acting and appearing silly. So we're very much a society where we're taught to be societally correct, wherein if we're silly or appearing silly, or if we act like a child, it's kind of deemed, not normal. But to be honest with you, when you're acting silly, it is enjoyable and it's comfortable in its own space. So if you explore the absurd and the ridiculous and the unbelievable, perhaps everybody can lean in. And I know that some people don't have their cameras on, but I want you to lean in and I want you to make a super silly, weird face. Super silly, weird face,
Weird face,
leaning
make
into
a
the
weird
camera.
face.
Weird faces. Here we go. I want to see some weird faces. Am I seeing some weird faces? Am I seeing weird faces? We doing good?
Yeah.
Strange, right? What
Yeah.
about? My favorite is where you can get your nose right in there. Hi guys, how are you? How's everybody feeling today?
Silly. We're feeling silly.
We're feeling silly. Good job, everybody. Weird faces are the #1 way to make you release limitations. It allows you to explore absurdity. It allows you to play around with your features. So you can honestly freak your grandchildren out one day if you want. You just kind of tap them on the shoulder and then you turn around and you're like, oh. They'll be like, Grandpa, Grandma, you're crazy. And you're like, yeah, but I'm also really funny. All right. Number 10, before we take some questions on the history of laughter or anything you want to ask. Number 10 has a lot of playfulness to it. So this to me is called swinging laughter. Swinging laughter is what it's called. So all members, you can move outwards and widen into any circle or stand up or sit down. And as you're actually doing a motion of swinging your arms up and around you, if you can, up and around you, up and around you. And you're going to simultaneously burst into laughter. Ready? I heard a snort. I heard a snort. Somebody snorted. Now, bring it down nice and slow, nice and slow. Bring it down. Let's go ahead and close our eyes. Let's take a deep breath in through our nostrils and exhale through our mouths. Deep breath in through our nostrils. And I want you to exhale by fluttering your lips. Laughing. Exhale again. Exhale. Good. I'm hearing some high pitch. That's just good. One more for me. Inhale in. And all right, everybody, give yourselves a clap. Give yourselves a clap. Great job. Great job. So I want to challenge everyone in this group today to take these exercises on what we did and use them in your day-to-day life. And they can be any structure you want. If you're randomly clapping just to stimulate your acupuncture points, or if you want to silently laugh while you're waiting in line at the bank, or you want to chuckle real loud and do your Arnold Schwarzenegger impression while you're at a red light and back-to-back traffic. I want you to do these things on a daily or weekly basis if you can think about it. Because then the things that bother you the most can be diffused and thereby solved in small steps. So before we leave, I would love if anyone has any questions, they can obviously ask me now, but I would also appreciate if you told me one thing that really bothered you. And it could be anything at all, what really bothers you. And then we're going to work with you on laughing at it. So if anyone wants to go.
Road rage.
Okay.
Rage.
So it's road rage. Road rage? Okay, road rage. All right, so. Yep. Road rage. What else did you say? Great. All right, so road rage it is. So while we're in road rage, I want everybody to take the wheel. Take the wheel of the car. And now you've only moved an inch in like an hour. Only moved an inch in 1 hour. And then I want you to look around and everyone's angry, maybe chain smoking. Maybe there's a couple of toddlers screaming bloody murder in the car next to you. And I want you to all of a sudden stop and just lean in and make a silly face. And I want you to hold your silly face. Because that, though, if anyone's looking in their rearview mirror, you look crazy. But to you, you've just allowed yourself the freedom to laugh at a situation you cannot control. right? You can't control the road rage. You're not going to be able to make PennDOT move any faster. They're always going to be slow.
That's right.
That's right. So another situation that really bothers somebody. What other situation really bothers somebody? Anybody else?
I have one.
Go
Um,
ahead.
Without getting political, people who refuse to get vaccinated.
I like how you said without getting political, but coincidentally, it's political. And you just made Mary leave. Okay, that's a great one. Honestly, we're dealing with that one. You're totally dealing with that one. So ready? So hers is people that aren't getting vaccinated because you want to go back to your day-to-day life, right? All right, so everybody, imagine that you're frustrated that people aren't getting vaccinated. Think about it, even if you don't care about it. Think about it. Doesn't matter. Think about it. Think about it. All right, and I want you to take your own vaccination needle right here, and I want you to just poke the air. Boop, boop, boop. You're vaccinating people in your dreams, okay? Boop, boop, boop.
Dream.
Look, someone's trying to run away from you. Grab them, vaccinate them.
Take that.
Take that. You better grab that. Oh, I put it in your butt. Sorry about that. Oh my goodness. All right. Oh, you're trying to run away? Gotcha. Boop. Vaccinated. You're vaccinated. Everybody's vaccinated. Yeah, you're gentle with you. You're getting 2 vaccinations. Bam, bam. Bam, bam. Bam, 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 bam. Now, what we just did was hopefully something you just do in the air. Don't go around trying to vaccinate people. That's obviously not going to work. But what you did was you took the situation you couldn't control and you showed yourself that you actually have the power in that moment to manifest the idea of people getting vaccinated by having your own vaccination, right? And it makes you laugh at the same time. So we have time for one more before we wrap it up for questions. So does anyone have anything else?
I have a grammar one that I would love to see how you would deal with.
Okay, give it to me, Mama.
People are so concerned to say I instead of me that they use I after prepositions, like for Joey and I.
Mm-hmm.
And you wouldn't say for I.
Mm-hmm.
You would say for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be for Joey and me,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the rule of thumb as far as figuring out, which it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And it just drives me mad. I hear it from the pulpit. I hear it from politicians. I hear it from actors. I hear it everywhere.
Journalists.
Okay, so that's a great one, by the way, because language is something so interesting. The history of language it's the way that people traded in the beginning, right? That's how they used language, was to actually barter and trade. And then we developed the alphabet, 26 letters of the alphabet. We developed Oxford Dictionary, the proper way to use English. And when things are out of our control, like improper grammar, we tend to want to correct it, right? So when you hear it, and you hear somebody do it, it makes you feel what? Tense? How does it make you feel?
Irritated.
Okay, so irritated. Perfect example for this. Now, if maybe you started to do something along the lines of, when you hear Joey and I are going to the mountains, right? I think you can start going, well, Joey and Yin's guy is gonna go downtown. Say something that much more absurd to them to diffuse how irritated you are, right? And Yins is a perfect way to do it. How do you feel about the word Yins?
I moved to Pittsburgh when I was 14, and so I guess I have become a Yinzer, but it's not natural.
It's not natural. So I want you to say it 3 times fast. Joey and Yin's guys gonna go downtown, and go.
Joey and Yin's guys are going to go downtown. Joey and Yin's guys are going to go downtown. Joey and Yin's guys are going to go downtown.
Yay! That right there is the power that you have on your own, because what we don't want to do is try to control everybody's situation in life, right? Because that's their journey. Their lack of understanding of grammar is their path, their journey. What you can do for yourself is make yourself laugh in any single way when you hear it. That way, each time it diffuses your irritation that much more. And again, some people might want to hear that the correct way to speak is the correct way. Sometimes people don't want to hear it. So the beauty of being able to make yourself laugh grammatically is finding a word like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Right?
Even though the sound of it is something atrocious.
Yeah. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Just
Even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious.
Exactly. Good. She's doing it with me. All right, before we wrap up, everybody, I'm so happy that we got to go through all these motions today, because these things allow you to be silly throughout your day. And if you have any questions about anything at all, by all means, fire them off. Everyone's good. Oh, cool. Awesome. No questions? We all feel like we understand laughter a little bit more.
Yes.
We feeling silly. We feeling loosey-goosey.
Yes.
Yeah. Bob, can
Yeah.
you give me a nod? Let me know you're feeling loosey-goosey. Bob's feeling loosey-goosey in Poland. Awesome. Well, I am so thrilled to be a part of this day with you all, and I can't thank you enough for wanting to be here. And I hope that you spread laughter wherever you go today, and you keep thinking about the many ways that you can control the uncontrollable by enjoying the moments that are a little bit more irritating, like Joey and I. Does that work?
That works.
Awesome.
Joey and I.
And one more
Love it.
time before we go, I want everyone to ho, 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 ha, 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 ho, ho,
Oh,
Brilliant. Wonderful. On behalf of the Parkinson's Foundation, Casey, thank you for having me. To
Thank
all of you, so wonderful to see you. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank you,
JC.
JC.
Thank you, JC.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
JC.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.